Bismillah, Sister Aziza. Okay.
Insha'Allah. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. بسم الله الفتاح. اللهم لا سهل إلا ما جعلته سهلا وأنت تجعل الحزن إن شئت سهلا يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وارزقنا علما نافعا يا كريم. Oh Allah, benefit us with what you have taught us and teach us that with which benefit us and grant us knowledge which will benefit us. Ameen. Bismillah.
Jazakallah khair, Sister Aziza. Sister
وإياك
Munira.
Sister Miraj.
Alaikum. Thank you for everybody who's tuning in today. Welcome to Middle School Curriculum Night. We are excited to actually meet everybody in person next week. Not today, but at least you'll have a chance to meet your teachers virtually today. So Inshallah, today we're hoping to cover an overview of the 6th, 7th, 8th curriculum, what the teachers' expectations in middle school are, and then also clubs and activities that middle schoolers can join this year. I know it'll be a bit of a transition from being glued to a computer 8 hours a day, but inshallah, I think once we get into things next week, it'll be a good transition for everybody, inshallah, to be socially connected again. So for the teachers that we have this year, we have our returning teachers, Sister Iman, Sister Samira, myself, Sister Maniza, Sister Fatima, Sister Susie, Sister Weda, Sister Jill, and Sister Hina. And then we have 2 new teachers joining us for middle school, which you'll get to hear them talk later on through the presentation. But we have Sister Hina, who was previously an elementary school teacher, but now she's joined us in middle school, and Brother Warren. So the curriculum that we follow at RSA covers all of the Texas Education Agency requirements. So the required curriculum that we must meet for English, math, science, social studies, but then we go beyond that. We try to have a little bit of advanced program, and that's why we offer honors courses in English, math, science, and social studies. And we also have select courses that count not just as middle school courses, but towards high school credit. So some of those courses include the computer science. So 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade computer science is actually counting towards your high school credit. And then Algebra 1 is actually a high school course that students are taking in 8th grade. And then Arabic is your language course, which is also a high school credit. And you'll notice as we go through this presentation, you might hear STEM come up or project-based learning. And that just means that RSA is very focused on science, technology, engineering, and math. A lot of the teachers come from technology and engineering background. So we try to incorporate that into all of our subjects. And then project-based learning, all that means is that we want to teach beyond the book. We want to incorporate real life scenarios of where you'll actually use these concepts that you're learning. And I know these middle school teachers have come up with, some amazing projects that usually they're sent to parents at the end of the year, where you get to see some of their projects during parent-teacher conferences, but you'll get to see what the students are working on, inshallah. And now we have science, which Sister Jill will talk to us about 6th grade science.
Assalamualaikum, everybody. This is Coach Jill. Alhamdulillah, great to be back here and good to see you all. Alhamdulillah, Inshallah, 6th grade science is an interdisciplinary course and focuses on preparing students to use scientific methods and applying inquiry-based learning approach. The curriculum will integrate the 6 major themes of science: change, into continuity, diversity, interaction, limitation, and organization. Students will be engaged in hands-on lab activities each week. As students learn science skills, they will study topics such as properties of matter, energy transformations, organisms and their environments, forces in motion, earth processes, and the solar system. Sister Fatima will now talk about 7th and 8th grade science.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. I think I'll be seeing some of the students for the first time. I've been mainly with high school and upper middle school. So I'm very excited to meet the incoming 6th graders and 7th graders. Science will be exciting. It is a fun subject. You will enjoy it a lot. The 7th grade honors science course revolves around life science. So we're not going to see a lot of physical science or earth science that you took in 6th grade. You won't be seeing much of it, but you will visit that again in 8th grade. So I'll talk about that later. But 7th grade is mainly going to be a life science module. So you will have a lot of hands-on projects. And I also believe in a lot of student-led learning. So if the students are interested in certain areas and they want to bring in, they have ideas about projects that they want to bring in and do, I'm very open to that kind of differentiation and kind of integrating all the student ideas and making it really fun for them. So inshallah, looking forward to that experience. And then 8th grade science. In 8th grade science, so we don't have much life science because it is covered in the 7th grade curriculum. We have a little bit at the end, but it's mostly going to be physical science, earth science, and astronomy. So when you encounter these various topics within 8th grade science, you're going to go back and refresh your 6th grade memories and all of this middle school curriculum. So 6th, 7th, and 8th is basically tested at the end of course STAR exam that you have somewhere at the end of 8th grade. So by that time, we should kind of go over most of the curriculum that you already have finished and review it. But don't worry about that. We have time for that. It's about learning and it's about enjoying the journey with science and also about preparing you for high school, right? So as a high school science teacher, I know the gaps that I see and the things that you forget. So we usually try to focus on those things in 8th grade, and we expect a lot of independent learning. We don't want to be coming after you and pushing you. We want you to kind of take control into your own hands and put in a lot of effort by your own inner motivation. So as I told you before, it's going to be physics. It's going to be physics, a little bit of introduction to chemistry, astronomy. It's a nice interdisciplinary within science, and you will enjoy that. And if you have any questions, we can take them later. Thank you. That's all from me for now.
Okay, we will have Sister Jill talk to us about 6th grade social studies, inshallah.
Hello everybody, this is the coach here again. I will be teaching 6th grade social studies. The curriculum will integrate the 5 major themes of social studies: innovation, reform, conflict, democracy, and migration. Students will learn about the people and places of the contemporary world within broad regions such as Sub-Saharan Africa, South America, South Asia, East Asia, Australia, and New Zealand. Students will explain how the level of technology affects the development of the various societies and identify different points of views about events. Coach Harper will now talk about 7th grade social studies.
Assalamu alaikum, everybody. My name is Warren Harper. I'm going to be the 7th grade social studies teacher, also the PE and health teacher as well. But going on talking about 7th grade social studies, we will be covering topics that range from tools that we need to have in order to study history, as well how cultural plays a role and impacts our society. The different regions of Texas. We're going to cover topics as far as the Mexico and Texas independence, the Alamo, and other important key figures in social studies as well. And then as far as they were discussing about project-based learnings, I'm sorry, I'm getting there. We will have a couple of those as well in 7th grade social studies, where students, will either do it individually or group work to come up with different type of presentations, from reenactments and videos as well. JazakumAllahukhairan here.
Okay, we have Sister Hina who will talk to us about ELAR.
Okay, assalamu alaikum. My name is Hina Rashid, and I was previously in elementary, and this is the first time I'll be with the older kids. So inshallah, they're good to me. Just kidding. I know they will be, inshallah. Okay, so 6th grade ELA, I will not be doing. Sister Samira will be doing it, but she's mostly in elementary. So I'm going to talk about 6th grade ELA, 7th grade ELA, and 8th grade ELA. But I myself will be doing 7th grade and 8th grade ELA, inshallah. So Sister Muniza, I'll talk about 6th grade ELA. Yeah, there you go. Okay. So 6th grade honors ELA is a rigorous course designed to prepare students for entry into AP courses at the high school level. It engages students in becoming skilled readers and writers. A 6th grade ELA curriculum will emphasize on developing critical thinking and analysis of the style of selected authors and works through reading, essays, discussions, and exam, tests like end of the unit test, even throughout informal testing. Specific emphasis will be placed on developing open-ended responses and annotating for analysis. Novels will be used in addition to textbooks. So it's not going to be just textbook. It's going to be also just novels that are not in the textbook, just novels that we pick. Teachers are going to pick, and we're going to go ahead and do more detailed work on them. And then, of course, we have the SAT vocabulary assignments, which they're used to doing from 3rd grade and up. And then 7th grade, also same thing. It's a rigorous course for AP students at the high school level. Additionally, there will be an increased focus on writing because they will be taking the 7th grade writing start exam. And in both reading and writing, the students are going to develop an understanding of the interactions among a writer's purposes, audience expectations, as well as the way conventions contribute to effectiveness in writing. The 7th grade ELA curriculum will emphasize on developing critical thinking, analysis of the style of selected authors, and works through required reading, essays, discussions, and exams, as same thing in 6th grade. And also we will be using novels in addition to using the textbook. And then 8th grade, again, it's going to be preparing students for entry into the AP, level and high school level. And in both of reading and writing, students will develop an understanding of the writer's purpose, audience expectations, the effectiveness in writing. Nonfiction and informational selections will be selected along with short stories, drama, poetry, novels, and classic works. We're going to be doing some research, and speaking and study skills will be reinforced. So if they're doing any research, they'll be presenting it. So it's going to be a lot of like communication skills, their speaking skills, and all that stuff. Relevant forms of media are incorporated throughout the school year to enhance learning and assist students' success in the course. Novel will be used in addition to the textbook, and of course, we're going to have SAT vocabulary assignments as well, inshallah.
Okay,
I think that's it. Yeah, so that's 6th, 7th, and 8th grade ELA.
Okay, and also we have Sister Hina to tell us about 8th grade social studies, inshallah.
Alaikum. I'm Sister Hina. Many of you know me from last year for 7th grade social. So I guess you guys know how our classes are run. 8th grade social, we're going to mainly focus on US history. So the time from exploration and colonialism all the way till after the Civil War and Reconstruction.
Sister Hina, I think you got cut off.
Oh,
yeah.
sorry. Can you guys hear me okay now?
Yes.
So I was saying that we kind of cover all the way from colonialism and the explorers all the way till about Civil War and Reconstruction. Students are expected to be reading the lessons beforehand, before we get to class, because in class we kind of focus more on more of the hands-on activities and discussions and stuff.
Okay. Now we'll have Brother Warren tell us about health and PE for 6th through 8th.
Yes, assalamu alaikum again, it's Brother Warren. For PE, we are going to try to focus on doing team sports, team challenges as well. Sports like basketball, badminton, flag football, soccer. We will also be focused on areas of the fitness gram test, like muscular strength, endurance, cardiorespiratory, and then With that, we are looking to improve on and growing, the fitness levels of the students, as well as integrating other subject areas into P as well, like math, science, social studies. When it comes to health, we're going to be focusing on healthy relationships, developing healthy relationships, amongst our family and students, our teachers as well, learning about stress and how to manage that, learning about risky behaviors, drugs, alcohol, tobacco, the consequences of those, and mental health, emotional health, and bullying.
Okay, so for 6th through 8th grade math, 6th grade math will be taught by Sister Susie. If you haven't had a chance to meet her, you'll have an opportunity next week. Back to school night we have on Wednesday, Insha'Allah. She teaches 6th grade honors math. It's an accelerated program. And mashallah, she does an amazing job, and she finishes the 6th grade curriculum and then dives into the 7th grade pre-algebra curriculum. 7th grade pre-algebra is taught by myself. It is also an accelerated program. If there were any gaps in the virtual year, we will spend time reviewing any of the concepts that students may have struggled in this past year before we get into the intensive curriculum. But by the second half of the year, I like to focus on algebra concepts. I think it's essential to set that foundation before they go to algebra in 8th grade. So I like to introduce them to how to solve algebraic equations, how to graph equations, just so they've seen it before and they are better prepared going into 8th grade algebra. And 8th grade is also taught by Sister Susie. So Sister Susie teaches 6th grade and 8th grade 6th grade math and 8th grade algebra. And this course is actually a high school course. So it is strongly recommended that students buy a graphing calculator. They need it for the end of course exam. EOC is short for end of course. If you're not familiar with it, it's just similar to a STAR exam, except now students must pass this exam to graduate high school in Texas. So it's an important exam. It also counts towards their final grade, and they'll cover in-depth concepts, and they'll learn how to use the graphing calculator, inshallah, because you have to use it on the exam, the graphing calculator. Computer science, 6th through 8th grade is taught by myself. 6th grade, I think it's just a really fun course. I try to make it fun, as well as students are implicitly learning some foundational concepts that they need later on. So we start with JavaScript, and they'll learn how to draw graphics, animate those graphics, make them move. We'll make some fun games while learning some of these foundational skills that they need to know for any programming language. So, and then we'll follow it by Python. I like starting with JavaScript because I think it's more intuitive for them as their first language. And then once they go to Python, then they remember concepts, except syntax is a little bit different, but it's the same thing. And then they get to do fun projects with Python as well. And then some of the main projects, other than the games that we'll work on, is using even Microsoft Excel. I like picking tools that students will have to use later on in life. So just learning how to make like a budget spreadsheet or voting forms, like for student council, you know, how they can make forms that restrict certain information in their dropdown. So inshallah, I like to take at least a month to focus on Excel. So not just the programming, but other real life skills that they might need later on. And then 7th and 8th grade computer science is going to be Java. If you've taken the 6th grade computer science, then a lot of these concepts will carry over. And just again, it's a slightly different syntax. And they'll learn how to use if statements and while loops. But what I like is the 6th grade, class make sense of why are we using if statements and when would we ever need to use a while loop or a for loop. So it's a really great course. For anyone new, that's okay. I will start you from the beginning. And I know some students who come in without any background get a little intimidated, but actually, you know, we have differentiated learning. So I would, you know, teach you at a different pace and not expect you to be at the same level as everybody else who's taken 1 or 2 years of this before. And I like to do 1 or 2 fun projects because, you know, sometimes students don't just want to program. Computer science is more than just programming. It's just one of the many fields that you can go into. And many times most people don't even go into the programming. They sometimes like that the least. So we'll learn other things like web design with JavaScript, which is a lot of fun. So I did that last year with the 8th graders. They built their own websites, but using everything from JavaScript and HTML and styling sheets. And so this was fun. And then also video editing. So I like to use tools like Powtoon and just teach them, you know, there's these ready to use tools that are really easy to make some amazing videos. So I want them to kind of get exposed to all the different fields. So, you know, even if they don't love the programming, they might love one of these other subjects and topics and projects that we work on. Okay, and then I wanted Sister Iman. Do we have Sister Iman here? I know she was joining right now to cover the Arabic and Islamic studies. If not, I'll come back to this. Okay, so I can come back to it. So the other thing I want to cover is throughout the year, we will have assessments and there'll be informal and formal assessments. So informal just means not everything has to be a written test. There are other ways to assess if students are understanding the material, and that can include just are students interactive in the discussions? How are they working in group work? Are they contributing? Even presentations and projects can count as assessments. And your formal assessments are what you're familiar with, your traditional quizzes, tests, you know, essays. Okay. Some of the major assessments, we have MAP, which stands for Measure of Academic Progress. We have this in the fall, so students will be taking this most likely in August to assess what you've retained over the last school year and where we can identify the gaps of where we have to work with each individual student. We know there must be gaps through the virtual learning, so we need to kind of, if we need to reteach certain topics, then this would tell us that. And then the students will take this again in the winter and in the spring. And then we have the STAR exam. So for reading, we have the 6th, 7th, 8th STAR. For writing, we have the 7th STAR. For math, you have 6th and 7th. And then social studies, we have the 8th STAR. And then the EOC exam, the high school exam, is for 8th grade or any 9th grade students who have not taken it already in 8th grade. And extracurricular activities. So this upcoming year, we have the clubs that we've had before. We have Student Council, which is run by Sister Samira and Sister Iman. They do a lot of fun events throughout the year. And we did before the COVID situation, I know they had Parents' Night Out. So I know they're already planning their events. We were talking about this today. And then we have Business Professionals of America with Sister Amina and Sister Sophia. This is a great club if you want to get real life exposure to a profession that you're interested in. So if you're interested in web design, you can compete with other students within Texas and nationally on your web design skills or animation. I think there's even typing. There's over like 20 different groups you can choose from. And it's a great club. If you want to find out more information about this, you can talk to Sister Amina. And then National Junior Honor Society, we begin this after the first marking period. So rather than using students' grades from last year, because I know we were in a virtual environment, we'll use their scores for the first marking period, as long as they are A honor roll or AB honor roll, they'll be invited to join and they have good character. There are expectations for National Junior Honor Society members. They should be responsible. They should be in good standing with their teachers. They should also have the grades to be invited to join. And inshallah, it's just a really good way to get involved with not just the school, but after school we do volunteering outside of school. But of course, we have to be safe with the COVID situation. So even this past year, even though we were virtual, we were able to participate in so many events, even donating, making care packages for senior citizens. And we did fundraisers. So inshallah, we'll do the same this year. We'll see based on the situation what we can actually do in person versus as helping out virtually without putting any students at risk. Homework policy, homework will be different than elementary school. There is a higher expectation for middle school because we want to prepare students for high school. So the nice thing, I think many of the students liked the Google Classroom setup that we were following last year. So most teachers will be still using the Google Classroom. For math, we'll be posting the assignments. I think it's just easier to keep track of for both the student and the parent, and to turn in the work and to keep track of the deadlines. And we'll continue posting on the Google Classroom. Honor roll, we have, so as I mentioned earlier, that after the first semester, we will look at if you have A honor roll or A B honor roll or even B honor roll. And then inshallah, you'll be invited to join NJHS based on that and your character. But this is reevaluated again at the end of the year for the whole year. If you qualified for those awards for A honor roll, A B honor roll, B honor roll, you have to maintain it throughout the year. Okay. We have an academic counselor. Our high school academic counselor is Sister Sana. Inshallah, she'll be at the high school curriculum nights. But if you wanted to talk to her, especially 8th graders who want to decide what they'll be majoring in or focusing in as they go to high school, because in high school they start taking dual credit. So if the 8th graders want to get a head start, you can set up a personal appointment with Sister Sana, and then she'll talk to you one-on-one on the available classes and planning for next year on some of your dual credit courses. Okay, Sister Iman? Sister Marj, do we have Sister Iman?
I'm checking, sister.
Okay. So while I'm waiting for Sister Iman, I just wanted to mention FERPA, we are very strict about what is shared online. So I know it only says Facebook, WhatsApp. Now we have Instagram and TikTok. So be careful what you share. Don't post anything about another student. So we have, it stands for Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act. Parents have the right to control disclosure of personal student information. So that includes limiting sharing of pictures through Facebook or WhatsApp. I know Sister Maj has a form that if you don't want your child's picture taken or posted, then you can talk to her about that form that we fill out. So while we're waiting for Sister Iman, we can, if you guys have questions for any of the teachers who have spoken so far, we can take those questions.
Okay, thank you so much, Sister Muniza and everybody. So if you want to go ahead and unmute yourself for any questions, and then, or if you don't want to speak on the microphone, you can text you in the chat box. Sister Madiha, please go ahead.
Yeah, assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So just to reiterate, I know that because of the COVID gap, that's something that has got me very concerned, because obviously there was a huge gap. I'm sure a lot of parents will resonate with that. So when you talk about reteaching, so obviously like all students will be at different levels. So how are you going to kind of incorporate, I mean, if someone is like really behind and there's a huge gap and versus someone who is like maybe just up to date, I mean, like, so, I mean, is there going to be like individualized reteaching or what? I mean.
Thank you for your question, Sister Madiha.
So we already applied differentiated learning. I think we've, every year without the virtual situation, each year, I think we usually have at least 2 to 3 different levels in almost every classroom. So and each teacher may do it differently, but personally, once we've taken the map, the fall map, which tells us, do we have students who are in the advanced level? Do we have students who are in the, meeting the requirement? And then do we have students who are falling behind? And right away, I think it's a very accurate assessment because it tells us the gaps that we need to focus on. And what we do, even in the classroom, we group them. Like I know Sister Roy, the Arabic teacher, she has people who have never taken Arabic before, and then she has fluent speakers. So we group them, and then it's almost like a one-on-one teaching where the teacher moves around the classroom and then has to instruct them at a different level, as well as after school tutoring. I have to supplement for math, and I know so does Sister Aisha. When I taught with her in middle school, we have to use supplemental programs like iExcel, which really help close the gap and help. And I think parents love those resources because I can narrow down to specific topics that this child needs to work on, assign them different homework. Like it's not a one homework fits all for everybody. And I think we saw that even last year while we were virtual. So if any other teachers want to add anything I missed.
Sister Muniza, we sent out this outline in the newsletter yesterday for the parents. Sister Madiha, I can send it to you if you have missed it, inshallah. It just gives you an outline.
Yeah, I think I got it. I think you sent it with an email.
Yes,
so I think I just want to kind of, sometimes you just need
Yes,
that
sure.
reassurance from the teachers themselves. So
You're
yeah.
absolutely right. If any other teacher wants to add anything, please go ahead. Okay, should we
I had one more question about iExcel. Can I just ask that?
Sure, Sister Madiha, please.
Yeah. So iExcel, I mean, I just noticed like even for the year before and even last year, the access to the iExcel program is kind of given in the second half of the year. So I'm not sure, I mean, can that not be arranged from the beginning of the year or?
Yes, I agree. I think it is something that we need to, and for those who created accounts, they will still have access actually, because it hasn't even been a year. I think most of them signed up, I think in February, March, especially for the, to make up for, any gaps with STAR coming up. But so the students who had access last year should still have access this year, but I will double check. And I think that's a good recommendation for all teachers to request that we sign up in the beginning of the year.
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum, Sister Iman. Next question. Ayub, do you have any question?
No.
Please unmute yourself if you have any question.
I don't.
Okay. For anybody else? So.
Maybe we can pause. So Sister Iman, I know you want to talk about Arabic and Islamic studies. So sure. I can share my screen so you can go over the curriculum.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. I'm sorry, I had another meeting. We just got done. So sorry about being late. My name is Iman. As most of you guys know, I don't think we have anyone new over here, do we?
We do, Sister Iman.
Oh, we do. All right, so my name is Iman, and I do teach Islamic Studies and Quran from 5th grade all the way to 12th grade, alhamdulillah. So the objectives of Quran is for us is to be able to understand the Quran and be able to read it with proper tajweed, and to understand actually the surahs that we are reading. Starting from the 6th grade, we start translating the ayat. So little by little, we start with Surah Rahman, and little by little, and we build on that skill until the 12th grade, alhamdulillah. But not only that, we want our children to have a good character and manners, and with us, good role models for the rest of the community, and them being able to understand why do we have to do certain things. It's a critical thinking. It's like if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asks us to do the ibadah, why do we do the ibadah? How does it bring, what part of it is beneficial in the world? What can we do to become a better Muslim and a better person, mainly? So we do have Aqidah, manners, history, learn from the history of Sahaba, learn from the history of prophets, all of those things, inshallah. Next slide, Sister Muniza. Okay, so it's vertically aligned for every year. So starting from like very younger grades, elementary, we start learning the ibadat and we build on it. So after some years, we go back over it. For example, we start Salah in 4th grade, and then we go back in more detail for Salah in 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade. And we build on our prior knowledge, and we introduce new techniques, and how it's like they can understand them, the du'as better as they, or the adhkar or things like that. We do the history, we do, starting from 6th grade, we do big surahs. We do Surah Rahman, Surah Najm, Surah Tur, Surah Waqi'ah. And not only we learn we memorize them, but we also understand the translation of it. Memorization is according to wherever you start from. So for example, if you're a new student in 6th grade and you have only memorized 30th juz, so we're not going to start you on memorization of Surah Al-Waqi'ah. We're going to start you from where you have left off, so from the 29th juz onwards. Critical thinking, starting from not 6th grade, 7th grade, and more in 8th grade and going up to high school, we have started using Yaqeen curriculum lately. So what we do is Yaqeen curriculum has makes the students think critically. So if there are what kind of rules are there for environment in Islam, for example, it's like, how can we be more productive Muslim? But why should we do it from Quran and Sunnah? And if Prophet Muhammad ﷺ is a messenger, is a prophet, how can we prove it that he's a prophet? What part of it helps us understand that he was a prophet? What makes Quran divine? Things like that. So those are some things that we do it, and sometimes we bring the scholars to do it, or the speakers to talk about it, because not a lot of things that can be learned from the teacher sometimes when the scholars come or the speakers come. So for starting for next year, inshallah, the couple of Yaqeen teachers are going to come, inshallah, for the upper, middle, and high school, and we are aligning some of the other speakers to come throughout the year. So if they have any questions, if they have any concerns, they can learn from scholars, inshallah, from the speakers. Next one. So homework is mostly, we try not to give them Islamic studies homework. Quran homework is definitely memorizing the surahs, practicing the surahs at home. They are given time in class to do it, but if they are not doing it in class, then they are they are expected to at least listen to it at home, a lot of it, and reading practice. All of those things are considered homework. For Islamic studies, some of it might be, is like, because the Yaqeen has some of the homework as critical thinking homework, which they need to do at home. So that can be given, if they're not done doing it in class, it can be given as homework. And also the vocabulary. So they have to, some of the vocabulary they can understand it, and some of the vocabulary they have to memorize. So the translation of assigned ayat, they're encouraged to memorize in the class, but if they're not able to do it, then that becomes homework. So most of this Quran homework is basically the memorization homework. Most of the Islamic studies homework, we try not to give any Islamic studies homework. Most of it is done in the class, but if the student is not finished in the class, then it becomes their homework. Projects are aligned with the curriculum, hands-on technology. We do a lot of projects that are computer-based, like Islamic Jeopardy, some animation, blogs, videos. Some of it is hands-on, like artistic expression and interactive contests and things like that. Thank you. Next one. Assessments, just like all other courses, are formal, informal, group participation, and all those things. And I think this slide is yours, actually, Sister Muniza. Can we go to the Arabic slide?
Yes.
Okay. So Arabic is not like Quranic Arabic. This is the Arabic that is linguistic. So it's more speaking, listening, reading, and writing Arabic, because that's what they're required to do in order to get the high school credit. So since the principles are the same, so they should be able to apply the same principles to the Quranic Arabic, and they should be able to understand. So I give them the vocabulary, Quranic vocabulary, but Sister Ruwaida gives them the skills to understand that Quranic vocabulary. Next one. But more emphasis is given to everyday speaking, listening, reading, and writing Arabic. The focus is on the communication, just like I said before, it's listening, speaking, reading, writing, researching. They do watch a lot of videos in the class. They have the textbooks, they use the softwares. Curriculum stresses on grammar, rules, vocabulary building. So what they do, the conversational vocabulary building, and but the grammar rules that they learn in Sister Ruwaida's class, I refer them back when they are learning the Quranic Arabic. So they use those sentence structures or the grammar rules in my class as well. So there's an overlap, not an overlap, but I use the skills that Sister Ruwaida gives them in everyday Arabic. For grade 8, it's the prerequisite is successful completion of grade 7 Arabic, because it's one high school credit that is earned in grade 8. So whatever grade they make in grade 8 for Arabic is actually a high school grade. So it goes towards the high school credit. And this course uses the literature to develop accuracy in reading, writing, and speaking in Arabic. Just like all of our other courses, differentiation is done. So the students are assessed on the base of their it's like on the level they are. They're not assessed according, so they are assessed according to their own potential. So in both Islamic studies and Quran, if a student joins the Islamic school and has not gone through Arabic before or Quran before, we definitely accommodate according to their own potential.
Thank you, Sister Iman. And we can go back. We still have time for questions.
Sure, Sister.
I have a question.
Sister Hafsa, go ahead.
Just a small question about school timings. How do they change from elementary school to middle school? I believe it's a little bit later, right? Dismissal?
Yeah, so the last period ends at 3:30. The dismissal is at 3. So it ends at 3:25. So 3:25 to 3:30 is their dismissal, Monday to Thursday. And on Jummah, it's going to be 1:15 p.m.
Okay. Normally, if you guys, I'm sure you have families who have kids in both.
Yes.
Elementary
Yeah, I was going to say, we do supervise the siblings while the middle school or high school students, they wait for their dismissal time. So they are supervised till the parents arrive.
Okay, 3:45 was your dismissal time?
No, 3:25
Okay.
to 3:30. They'll be out by 3:30.
Okay. And do middle schoolers, they change from class to class, or are they in one homeroom class?
They will be in one homeroom class. We had mentioned this in our preparedness plan that this time we will change it. Teachers will be going room to room instead of the students.
Okay, thank you.
Inshallah.
So I had a question regarding, like, I mean, I know like there'll be projects and things like that. So with the COVID situation, like if there's any group project going on or something like that, I mean, how would that be managed? I mean, obviously they'll have to be close to each other and things like that. I mean, I don't know.
Any teacher would like to answer that?
Yeah, so for Sister Madiha, for like we did some group projects during the COVID time too, but most of them are collaborative on the research side, more on the research side. So like they do the research, so they can do that part while they're sitting, and even if they're making the slides and things like that. So a lot of the projects that we did during the COVID time, those were collaborative projects, but it's the nature just changed. Instead of being hands-on, they were more computer-based projects.
I have a question here from a student asking if they will be, if the middle schoolers will have lockers. So the answer is we are waiting till the situation gets better. Inshallah, Sister Sherry will be sending you more information about that once we have a clearance on that, inshallah.
So one more question. I just saw, I mean, in the email, they mentioned that there's like new courses, like for art courses for elementary and high. So just kind of wondering, why isn't there something being offered like for middle school? I mean, I know, yeah, the email said that next year is going to be offered, like next academic year, but like, is the reason why not this academic year?
Okay. So Sister Mazida's audio is not working right now, Sister Madiha. We will reply to you in an email, I guess, because she's having trouble with her audio right now. We'll get back to you on this, inshallah. One more question from another middle school student, sister. So this will be more for Sister Shay. Are we going to bring our own devices? I believe so. They will be allowed for middle and high schoolers to bring their own computers, right? From this meeting, right, Sister Muniza, from this morning, Sister Shay said they'll be allowed to?
Yes, they're allowed to bring their own devices.
Can I add to Sister Miraj?
Yes, please.
Okay, so Sister Sherry said that yes, they will be allowed to bring their own devices. They can bring their own cell phones and their own laptops, but they won't be allowed to use schools' internet. Yeah, so they can use their hotspots. So if they're planning to use online, if they're planning to go online, they can bring their cell phones and keep them in their backpacks and use the hotspot.
So is this like for personal use, or is it for like academic use, the use of devices?
Academic use. It will be under teacher supervision. If they're, like Sister Iman mentioned earlier, they'll be doing some research projects, and it will be various reasons related to academics, and it will be under teacher supervision.
So if the students don't have devices, then would they?
They'll be using the school computer.
Okay.
This is something so they don't share. It's like a lot of parents are not comfortable students sharing the devices. So that's why they're encouraged to bring their own headphones. They're encouraged to bring their own laptops. So there is We will be disinfecting the laptops between the use, but it's for the safety of the students. If they bring their own, they're more than welcome to do it.
Okay, so I have an answer for Sister Madiha's questions that, she said the arts teacher didn't want to take too many classes this year. So we will have more foundation next year for middle school arts program. Inshallah. So there is one question from my parent. What if the student does not have phone use to, if they don't have a phone to use as a hotspot? So I will take down these questions for Sister Sherry, Sister Iman.
Yeah. And I think, I mean, they always have the option of the school laptop.
Yes, yes, you're right. Yeah.
Disinfecting it. And so.
Yes. Personal device is an only reason that if you prefer to, and a lot of middle schoolers I know, they have phone. They can, if their parents are comfortable, they can send. But we still have our school laptops that we give it to our students and for use in school. Okay. Any more questions?
I have a question.
Yes, just a minute.
How many students are actually looking forward to coming back in person? Nobody. Eunice, are you looking forward to coming back? Amaya?
Yes.
Harun?
Seems like Harun really wants to come back.
I think everybody has to unplug a bit and, socialize within a safe distance in real life.
So Sister Madiha, a little bit more elaboration on your question, that they will have computer science as a programming language, right, Sister Maniza, which carries the high school and college credit. So Sister Ghazala explained to me that they don't want to burden them too much with the arts right now. In high school, they do have block period where they have more flexibility in their schedule that they can have art class. So inshallah, like I said, more details will be available. I guess by next year we'll have it more arranged properly. One of the students is asking there's any lunch program, pizza program. I have to check with Sister Shay. We don't have any hot lunch service, but I'm pretty sure Sister Shay will be bringing the pizza program back. We will make an announcement ahead of time if we do, but I don't think it's for first week of school. Inshallah.
So just what will be the procedure like when the kids come to school? I mean, initially, I know they used to have the assembly, right? So
Yes.
now I'm assuming there won't be any assembly. So I mean, do they go straight to class or anything?
Yes, Sister Madhya. What we will do, we will send you first day, steps and everything before school, like we do that every year. But we will have a classroom assembly on Zoom. The students will be attending live Zoom assembly. They'll do the morning adhkar and assembly just like we did during virtual learning. They'll walk straight to the class. So we'll be there to assist them. We'll have all our teachers, and drop off and pick up will be the same protocol like we had previous years.
So like they'll be having virtual assembly?
In the classrooms.
Okay, in the
so
classrooms.
Say,
okay.
For example, say if we have they'll all do morning adhkar, and then Sister Nuzat will be hosting the assembly, or if we have any guest speaker, Sister Mazida or anybody, they'll be doing it in a different room, and they will all be able to attend the assembly via Zoom. Just to avoid the crowd in the gym, Sister Madhya. There's two more questions here. They're going to be a big sale, inshallah. More details will come on that. How do you ensure all the students are vaccinated before coming to school? So we did send out a survey, and we were encouraging, we had sent out in our email that we were recommending everybody to get vaccinated. Since we have some of our 6th graders are not, or 7th graders not yet turned 12, we cannot, but it's just when they turn 12, they will get the vaccination. Is the morning assembly going to be projected in the classroom? Yes, it will be. Yes, students who are vaccinated or not vaccinated, we will require them to wear a mask, inshallah, unless they're eating their lunch. Okay. These are the questions from the chat box. Any other questions? And for those students, so everybody else, alhamdulillah, they're all coming on campus, but there's maybe 1 or 2 who opted for online, maybe 6th grade. You will receive an email about school supplies and textbook pickup, inshallah. Sister Majida, anything else we have to add? Sister Muniza, Sister Hina, Sister Fatima.
I think there's one more question in the text.
Oh,
box.
is there? Did I miss it? I'm sorry.
No, it just came up.
Oh, it just came up. Can you read it to me, Sister? Okay, can we wear face shields instead of face mask? Yes. Sister Majida, is it either or both? Yeah, mask is required. Mask is a must. Because it's more tight fitting. I believe in the shield, you may get overheated in the school building. We are also requesting the plexiglass dividers for your desk while you're sitting down in the class. You can bring your own for your safety, inshallah. It's mentioned in the preparedness plan. Yeah.
And Eunice, the teachers are in the same boat with you. We're also going to be wearing masks, so don't worry. We're going to support you. Although we're all vaccinated, alhamdulillah, but definitely doing it for you guys.
Yes. Well, in 8 hours, they have their lunch, wudu break, if they're using the plexiglass, maybe they can have it a little bit open for a few minutes, I guess. Because I have a plexiglass on my desk, so that's what I do. When I go behind my desk, I take off my mask for a little bit. Okay. And Sister Iman, we will continue to make dua for everybody's safety, right? Like you have, we always did in the assembly, mashallah.
And I just want to mention is like, yes, it is hard to wear mask for 8 hours a day. The first day when we went for our training, we were huffing and puffing for air. But subhanallah, the second day it became a little bit easier. Third day it became a little bit more easier, alhamdulillah. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us the capacity to adapt to different things. And the kids are better than us anyhow, adults. So inshallah they won't even feel it. Inshallah.
Okay. So, even though you're attending this session today, please stop by on back to school night to pick up your dismissal cards. And, you can visit your classroom. So if you are buying a plexiglass divider, so you can see the kind of size of your desk. So you can have an idea of what size you need, inshallah. So please stop by on back to school night. We sent out the email, and then there's the timings, 2nd to 6th grade, just come at that time. Please make sure to label your personal items so to avoid sharing, especially your notebooks and things like that, pencil pouch and all those things, have them labeled and avoid sharing. And this is to the students, just be careful as you have been all last 1.5 years. Inshallah. Inshallah. Any other question? Okay, it's past 6 now, Sister Maniza. So if you have any questions and you're not think you're not able to remember it now, please feel free to email it to us, inshallah. We will reply to you. Okay.
And back to school night, what was the timing, Sister Raj, next week?
So it's 5:45 to 6:30 for 2nd to 6th grade, Sister Muniza.
Inshallah, we look forward to meeting you guys in person next week. And enjoy your last few days of freedom.
No homework days. So, Jazakallah khair all RSA families for joining us today, inshallah. Take care. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.